So President Trump recently has been saying some very interesting things about the Strait of Hormuz and as it relates to Iran and this whole big, deep state operation. So in this video, I want to go over some of those clips, what he said, some context, and some commentary as to what is possibly going on in the midst of all of this. So let's get into it. So in various speeches, he's been talking about the Strait of Hormuz being an American territory. So listen to some of these clips.
So we went down and we stopped them. They'll never have a nuclear weapon. They want to make a deal so badly. We don't even know if we want, because I view the Strait of Hormuz as an American territory right now. It's an American territory.
Now, several times he's said this in various speeches, and he's also posted about this, where in a recent Truth post, he specifically said, new U.S. territory, Strait of Hormuz. And from back on the 12th of August, he's said that the U.S. has total control over the Strait of Hormuz. I think we will keep it. Our naval blockade is being called by everyone a wall of steel, and there's nothing Iran can do about it. They have no navy, they have no air force, the remaining soldiers are unpaid, the IRGC is decimated and fleeing, and their leadership is uncertain at best. They have no money, their country is shot. All they have is fake news and 300% inflation and getting worse. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East, no longer. And then back on the 18th, he mentioned there are no talks or conversations going on or scheduled with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The naval blockade remains in full force in effect. The Hormuz Strait is open and operating. All water mines have been removed or detonated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then in many posts, he talks about having total control over the strait, and again, as well, declaring it a U.S. territory, especially in this map post. Now, what's also interesting is that he mentions that 1,000 ships have been escorted through the strait. He mentioned this several times, especially in certain speeches. Now, that same clip from the South Carolina rally, this is also from that clip where he talks about 16 million barrels going through with 1,000 plus ships. And he continues to reiterate some of the same messaging, especially as he's asked about Iran. Listen to what he says in this particular gaggle.
Sir, turning to Iran, the shifting economic warfare towards Iran, does that indicate that the military options in the region for the U.S. are limited?
No, not at all. That just means that we're seeing what happens. They have no money. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They are not paying their soldiers. They're not paying their police. They have 350% inflation. So we're just going to sort of see what happens. And we have total control, as you know, of the border. We have total control. If you look at the blockade, we have total control of that entire region having to do with the Strait of Hormuz. And that means well into it, the land areas. So they would love to make a deal, but they're not ready to make the right deal, in my opinion. Yeah.
So again, listen to what he says there. He's talking about going into the land areas and also that they are not ready to make the right deal. And remember, he also publicly declared this economic D-Day, where it's an unprecedented operation to crush Iran's shadow economy, making it very clear that their allies have to stand together and isolate and defeat this particular threat. Now, what's really interesting is that the Department of War CTO posted this on Twitter saying, sorry to keep you waiting, Patriots. Complicated business. Now, look at some of the commentary, because people have done the delta, the analysis against some Q posts here. Posted 1:45 Eastern Standard Time equates to post 13:45, where it's talking about that it was never about worldwide safety and security. It was never about nuclear disarmament. It was about opening a new untapped market. It was about securing a black site, the exchange. Now, this is, if you saw some of my previous videos talking about Syria, but here talking about how it was organized, planned by Barack Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton and carried out by Hussein, meaning Obama. And so here it is talking about that whole cash transfer. We've talked about this before, but this is, again, fishing out some of what has been hidden in terms of the deep state operation. And then in some other posts, again, some of the commentary is very telling because it's showing a lot of what possibly would be the clues to the comms. And here, this particular a poster talking about how it equates to 3782, post 3782, where it's talking about Castle Clean, because the photo is very eerily similar to the two soldiers. In this particular instance, they're two in front and the other one, they were behind. Now, others were pointing out that back in 2016 on November 11th, that President Trump made a victory speech where he talked about saying verbatim these words: "Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business." So I don't know if there's a relation there, but some of these words being brought back from the past. And regarding that whole thing about Syria, that comes from post 1306. So not going to read the full thing here, but I've previously talked about this and how that black site was a huge thing that is being exposed at this moment. And then Clandestine had this to say. He said at his speech today, and this was back on August 14th, because again, this was during another speech where, again, he said some of the same wording. At his speech today at a police academy in New York, Trump announced that he will, quote, will be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States once he is finished with Iran. He does not appear to be joking either. He's serious. The U.S. military will never allow terrorists to control the flow of energy or hold the world hostage ever again. Trump is locking up control of major energy choke points around the globe. We now control the Panama Canal. We have a recently enhanced military partnership with Indonesia and thus influence over the Strait of Malacca. And now Trump and the U.S. military own the Strait of Hormuz. The entire board is being secured. Now, again, we've talked about this before, but right now this operation is about cleaning out the deep state stronghold, their influence, weaponizing the U.S. military, the CIA, the three-letter agencies, removing the swamp, the deep state from within domestically, and also the control, the bullying internationally of certain waters, certain ways, and also with how they've enabled some of the deep state guys, Barack and Hillary and many others, that have enabled certain terrorist groups to operate rogue freely in certain nations. And again, all of this news is coming to light through North Korea, through Iran, through many other places, and these proxy armies are being shut down. So this is what this is about. And so more to come, guys. I want to give you guys this quick update. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. More to come. Talk to you guys very soon.